And from the national headquarters of RT America in our nation's capital, hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. So all this week, we've been trying to make sense, to essentially understand why it is that our foreign policy seems to be arbitrary, especially when it comes to Iran. Again, this is not a defense of Iran in any way, shape, or form, okay? But a legitimate question about why Iran is treated one way while other countries whose actions are perhaps comparable to Iran's are exalted, funded, protected by us. How does that make any sense? We must ask. So the obvious example, obviously, is one that we've mentioned throughout the week, Saudi Arabia. As we have pointed out earlier this week when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo went there to talk to the Saudi Crown Prince about Iran's bad behavior. Again, think about that in and of itself. Here is our chief diplomat getting advice from, I mean, I know it sounds bad, but an alleged murderer. The alleged murderer of a journalist, according to the United Nations, who worked for the Washington Post. And he's going there to talk to him about a country's potential bad behavior. Saudi Arabia is accused as well of being complicit in the deaths of 50,000 children in the war in Yemen. And it was Saudi citizens who were responsible for the attack on 9/11, including Osama bin Laden as one of them, whose family has ties to the Saudi royal family. These are all facts, okay? You can Google it yourself, right? This is a Wikipedia search if you want, right? So, and yet, Saudi Arabia is our ally. But because of what I have just explained, it does beg the question that only a legitimate journalist or any citizen would ask, why? That's all, just why? And then there's Pakistan. When the U.S. went after Osama bin Laden and killed him, he was hiding in Pakistan. And at that time, the United States was convinced that he was being supported by Islamabad, by Pakistan, at least according to the President Obama's special advisor, John Brennan, who said at the time, his word, right? He said at the time that it was, quote, inconceivable. That's John Brennan's word, not ours. John Brennan says, inconceivable that bin Laden did not have the support system in Pakistan at the time. So here is a CIA director-to-be saying that bin Laden was being helped by Pakistan. That's kind of huge, right? There's more. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Imran Khan, openly criticizes the United States, suggesting that he's sick and tired of being our, quote, hired gun. So Pakistan, it could be argued, has harbored terrorists and openly criticizes the United States. But it's allowed to have nuclear weapons. And we give them roughly $1 billion a year, $1 billion with a B in aid over the past 20 years. And look, this is not to say that we shouldn't. Or am I trying to say here that Pakistan is bad and that we shouldn't have relations with Pakistan? All I'm doing is simply trying to point out what nobody else seems to point out these days, that almost everything we say about Iran, we could say about other countries, including these two countries that I've just named. Yet somehow, only Iran is our arch enemy, worthy of being threatened with war while we publicly attempt to destroy their economy. So let me ask the question that nobody seems to ask these days. Who is picking our friends? And who is picking our enemies? And why? What is the real rationale for saying friend, foe? This is The News with Rick Sanchez, where we believe it's time